What's up, guys? This is Kenny with Channel Living Dead, and I am here today with a very, very special guest, David Howard Thornton, none other than Art the Clown from the awesome, awesome movie Terrifier. How you doing today, Dave?
Doing good, man. How are you doing?
Oh man, fantastic! You kind of made my day here.
Yeah, I'll try.
Man, you got a whole lot of fans, and Terrifier has quickly become a kind of a cult film already in just its brief run.
Yeah, it's been kind of nuts.
I'm sure it's been a mind blower for you.
Oh yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, I wasn't expecting all the kind of like I guess popularity that has come around this because we're a small, low budget independent film that so it's like when you're competing against big budget Hollywood, you don't expect this kind of stuff.
Thing about that is those films suck, man.
They
Y'all's y'all's I mean they do. Let's just be honest. Other than the occasional one here and there, but y'all's movie felt like the heyday of horror. 70s and 80s, and like I mean, I loved it. Everybody I know loved it.
That's exactly what we're going for. We just want to get back to the basics.
Yeah, well you nailed it, dog. Art is we have like no horror icons these days, and art is by far the new horror icon, at least in my eyes.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I kind of think he's pretty cool.
He's definitely he's nifty. Uh, let me ask you this, guy. How did you land this gig, man?
Well, I was like, I had just come back from doing a tour of How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the musical, and I decided to take some time off just to audition instead of like going back to waiting tables. And so I was, focused on trying to get into musical theater. So I was in like final callbacks for about 3 or 4 different Broadway tours, and they all fell through. And I was getting a little bit discouraged because I was so close to something big happening, and then I came across this audition notice for Terrifier. They were looking for a tall, skinny guy that had like clowning or physical comedy experience to play Art, and I was like, oh, that's perfect for me. So I had my reps submit me, and the rest is history.
That's so cool. They weren't considering anybody else, or they just immediately went with you, or how they
They
do
had
that?
other people. I went in for an open call audition, and it was improv based, so I had to like come up with a scene right on the spot where I decapitated a guy, and you can probably find it online. I don't want to spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen it yet, but it's just like I came up with all that on the spot and had them laughing their heads off, and they asked me right there in the room if I could come back in for a makeup test, and so I pretty much nailed it.
Speaking of makeup, man, the prosthetics and the makeup job on Art, like I mean, he's genuinely creepy. You know what I mean? Like, and somehow the tiny hat just makes him creepier. And I don't know how that works, but
The hat makes the whole thing. It's just like
it
the hat
really does.
is
Ties all together.
happy cappy as I call it.
How long did it take to film Terrifier?
Ooh, that on and off over like a year and a half
Wow,
because we had some setbacks here or there because low budget independent film, so you never know what's going to happen. So we came back and did some like film some new scenes and stuff like that after we had like a showing up in Telluride, Colorado of a rough cut of the film, and we decided we want to add a little bit more to the film, so we filmed the corner scene and stuff like that.
right.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, you got any favorite stories from filming? Anything that stands out in your mind?
Yeah, probably my favorite one was like there was this one night on set. I was like really bored because I was waiting to go on. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning, and they're filming a scene with Jenna where I shoot her in the face and stuff like. They're just shooting her reactions. And so I'm just sitting in my little room waiting to go on, and there's I hear this argument happening out on the street below me, and there are like, these two women like fighting with each other, and so the argument, forgetting me. And about 10 minutes later, like Damien and our producers come in, they're kind of like giggling. I'm like, what's going on, guys? So like, oh, we got someone out here that wants to meet you. I'm like, oh, cool. And at the time, like our producer was doing a film with Tom Sizemore, so I figured maybe Tom Sizemore come to visit set or something like that. And so I'm like, oh, cool. They're like, well, don't come out till we tell you to. I'm like, okay, we want it to be a surprise. I'm like, okay, cool. So I hear them like, hey, Dave, come out. And I roll up this huge garage door, and I come up, and I'm greeted to about 10 to 15 of New Jersey's finest in full-on riot gear, like they're ready to go to war.
They were probably there for Tom Sizemore.
Oh yeah, yeah. My butt puckered right there. I was like, oh.
That's craziness.
Yeah, and there's like this silence for a second. So I just let out this like, "What's up, guys?" And there's more silence. Like, oh god, I'm gonna die.
Right.
And they're just laughing their heads off.
Holy crap! Yeah, that's definitely a good one. All right, well, what can you tell your fans about part 2?
Part 2. Well, we're still filming it right now, so it's going along really well. We're about halfway through because we had pause a lot of filming because of the holidays and everything like that. So that's how it goes. And then our DP right now is having a baby, so we're having to pause again for that. I'm like, oh, geez. But I would say part 2 is definitely bigger and better than part 1. I think it's going to blow the first film out of the water. I think this is going to be our Empire Strikes Back.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like this one, it's got more of a plot to it. So we're bringing in a protagonist and her family. So we're really building those characters up. So like, we first introduced Art in the first one. Now we're introducing this character. So like we're building that character up a lot. But it's just we're not pulling back at all on any of the violence. But I think he's going larger scale because the first one basically took place in one location. This one takes place in like basically a neighborhood, so that he's going all over the place causing chaos and stuff like that. So it's and not just neighborhood, he's going everywhere causing chaos in this one. So it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
I love it, man. How many do you foresee any more sequels, or you think?
We at least want to do a trilogy, so we have a third film in mind already. We already know how we want to end it, and like so we know what we're building towards.
That is awesome, man.
Yeah,
that is so cool. All right, did you grow up as a fan of horror?
Not really. No, I was kind of late to the game because my mom was really afraid of horror films, so we never watched them in my family. So it wasn't until like my senior year of high school when Scream 2 came out, and my friends suckered me into go seeing that. So. And that's when all these films are fun. I want to go see more of this.
Right. That's cool, man. You went from being, not exposed to it to suddenly an icon yourself. That's a cool story, man.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
What would you say your favorite horror movie is?
Oh God, that's hard because there's so many good ones. But I usually say like my top 5. In no particular order, or like the original Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, Dream Warriors, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Exorcist, and The Omen.
Dude, those are great choices. Great choices.
Yeah.
Let's see, do you have any other horror projects in the works, or are you just going to be art exclusively for a while?
Yeah, I got 2 more films I'm supposedly filming this year that I really can't talk about too much. One of them's I would say one of them is probably going to be another trilogy too. That is going to be another franchise. We're hoping. So it's a really cool concept. I wish I could say more, but I can't. But we're hoping to get some big name horror talent attached to that one too.
Dude, yes, I'm looking for. I got keep me up to date, man. Since we talk now, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Let me know when things are gonna get closer. When you're able to tell me stuff and when it's about to come out and stuff like that, I'd love to have you back on too when you do your next one.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, we hope to release Terrifier 2 in October, but that's all dependent on how fast we can get everything edited and get distribution on top of that and stuff like that. So
I would love a Halloween release. That would be great.
Oh, we would too, because it takes place on Halloween, so it's like that's ideal.
Oh yeah, I love it. All right, tell me about the prosthetics. How bad was that? How like the application of and wearing? Like how much did you hate that?
It's a process. It takes about 3 hours to put all that on me too, and then another hour to take it all off because there's so much glue. But you deal. It's just like it was a little bit worse in the first film though, because I had to wear the contacts, and I hate wearing contacts. But this one I'm not wearing the contacts anymore.
That's cool.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of contacts myself. I can't. I'm weird about my eyeballs, so I get it.
Make sure you hit subscribe.
Whatever, I really don't care.
What would would you say the toughest scene was to shoot in Terrifier?
Physically, I would say it would be the hacksaw scene, because that was more physically demanding for Catherine than me. But I mean, that was the night we were filming with her upside down. That was a hard night because we could only let her hang upside down for 30 seconds at a time. So we couldn't goof around that night. We were very serious because we didn't want her to get hurt or anything like that. And so that was probably the hardest scene.
I was gonna mention that scene specifically, man, because I've been a horror fan since I was 5, and I'm 40 now, and that was like actually shocking to me. You know what I mean? It's rare that I see a horror movie that actually does something new or shocking, or you know what I mean? I was like, wow, this is good stuff. Oh, and I love
JC Part 2.
I love the way you're talking, man. I also love the diner scene too, the way you're stalking the ladies in the diner, and that little like demure gesture you did right before you pooped up the bathroom and everything.
Oh yeah, well, we got a scene that's kind of like the diner scene in this one too, so it's just, yeah.
I am so excited for it now. All right, anything personal you'd like to add or say to your fans, or anybody listening?
A big, huge thank you to everybody that's been supporting us, because it's like we wouldn't be where we are if it were not for the fans, because, like I said, we're still a low budget independent film. So we're doing this all on the fans. It's just the fans that have been like, coming in and like donating money to our Indiegogo campaign that really helped us out. And it's the fans that keep spreading the word about the film, because it's like, we weren't talked about in like mainstream media for the longest time because we're not a big Hollywood film. So we didn't have like, the Hollywood companies going out and doing all the publicity for us. We had to do our own publicity.
Well, you guys did something right, man, because I know you guys are an indie picture, but you don't even seem like it though. You know what I mean? You are like a level, you're like, in between level kind of, you know what I mean? Because you're too big for indie, but not quite, major studio. Like, I don't know, y'all done something special.
Well, I hope what we're doing is, putting a fire under other people's butts right now, and not just in Hollywood, but also in the indie scene, because I hope we're like, encouraging other indie artists to come out and start producing their own work. And I'm hoping we're, putting a fire under like Hollywood's butt to actually get back to the basics.
Dude, yes, I'm all with that campaign. You guys, and are you familiar with Vicente DeSanti from Never Hike Alone?
Oh yes.
I'm also a big fan of his, man. I'm actually trying to help him get the keys to the Friday the 13th franchise, because he gets it. You know what I mean? Like, indie guys are the only people that have ideas anymore.
Yeah, it's because like the indie guys, these are all the fanboys themselves. Like Damien, my director, he's been a horror fanboy since he was 3 years old. So he's like an encyclopedia when it comes to films. I don't know how many times we were trying to come up with a kill scene, and I would come up with something. It's like, oh, this was done in this film, and it would be some obscure film that no one had ever heard of except for him.
Right. That's awesome. Like, dude, that's the kind of people I like to talk to. You know what I mean? Because horror people are my people, you know what I mean? Like, I've been music scenes and whatnot, but like the horror community is by far the most tight knit, accepting people I've ever met.
Oh, it's so true. I've noticed that, especially at the conventions. It's just like, because I've done horror conventions, but I've also done like the regular like comic book type of conventions too. And I've noticed at the horror conventions there's more of a camaraderie with everybody there, and I kind of like that.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. If you check out our site sometime, man, you'll see like we got a lot going on, and we've got, like, I think I told you in DM, we got a lot of premieres we're about to do. Like, it's getting real exciting, man. We're basically trying to revolutionize independent film. We're doing one night only premieres, and then we'll have like the directors and cast, if possible, a live tweet along with it. We've got a special guest live tweeter for the Never Hike Alone one. I'll tell you in DM who it is. I'm not allowed to announce it just yet. You know what I mean? We would we would love to do. How would we be able to do Terrifier, maybe, since it's already kind of had its run?
Yeah, who knows?
With like you, dude, yeah. If we could get live, if we could premiere Terrifier and have you live tweet, that would be enormous, dude.
Yeah, you might be able to do that. Who knows?
Okay, cool. I guess check into it with your people or whatever. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, we're all down, but I don't know how the legal wranglings on your end will work. You know what
Yeah,
I
it's
mean?
probably Damien has say over that kind of stuff. I'm just the actor.
Right. All right. Well, if you would get me in touch with him, and I'll try to make that happen.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool.
We're going to go over this one time and one time only.
Hey everybody, have you heard the news? Joe Bob is back in town. Joe Bob is back in town. Joe Bob is back in town.
It has been an absolute freaking blast. I appreciate you taking time out of your night to talk to us.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, David Howard Thornton, Art the Clown, Terrifier. Terrifier 2 drops when?
Hopefully October 2020.
October 2020, yeah. Tentatively, anyway. So, yeah, we're all looking forward to that. Everybody, please check the film out. And if you haven't already seen Terrifier, you're a moron. I mean, it's very rare I get excited about a modern film, and Terrifier just did it for me, completely did it for me, man.
Thank you.
All right, now, I guess that's it, guys. So for Kenny from Channel Living Dead, David Howard Thornton, carry telephone.
Excuse me, do you work here? Customer.
The hell are we dealing with here?
Never thought I'd have to say this, but we've got ourselves a fugitive, gentlemen.
In all my years on the force, I've never seen that much blood. Nothing prepares you for that.